Hello, welcome to yoga class today. I'm looking forward to guiding you through an at-home slow flow yoga practice. Much of this practice will be grounded with some kneeling and seated postures. We will also explore some standing postures, so we'll have a little mix of both. But we will start the class off with our breath work. So go ahead and position yourself in a way that's comfortable for you to sit. Check your space, make sure that you've got the propping that you want and need. A yoga mat, a couple of yoga blocks that are gonna help serve you for some of the options that we'll have when we're standing. And I'm choosing to sit on a folded blanket today. You can sit on a blanket or a cushion, or you can sit directly onto the mat. This is up to you and your level of comfort. As we start today's practice, I'd like to share with you a type of breath work that's called Nadi Shodhana. That means alternate nostril. So with our alternate nostril breathing, we're gonna help ourselves come into balance so that we can make a transition from the first part of our day into our practice. So for our Nadi Shodhana, we're gonna take one hand, whichever is your dominant hand. Look at your palm. Now bring your peace fingers, your index finger and your thumb towards your palm. As you lift your hand, your thumb and your ring finger are gonna be hovering and alternating between your two nostrils. Now I'm using my right hand. To you, it looks like my left hand because the camera is flipped. If you're right-handed, use your right hand. If you're left-handed, use your left hand. Now before we start the breath, go ahead and take a deep inhalation all the way to the top of the breath, all the way until you can't take in any more air. And when you're ready to exhale, open your mouth, release all the air. Now let's start off by taking our thumb to our right nostril. Take an inhale through the left nostril, and at the top of your inhale breath, cover your left nostril, release your thumb. Exhale through your right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. At the top of the breath, cover with the thumb, release the ring finger, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. One more full round. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Remove your hand and gently let both hands rest on the thighs. Close your eyes. Find that straight spine. Feel your seat grounded. Reach the crown of your head up. Breathe naturally without force or control. Few more rounds of breath. Taking this time now to set an intention for your practice if you'd like. Checking in with yourself to see if there's something in particular that you'd like to focus on or honor as you move and flow today. Let's take one more full round of breath. And as you exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Now coming into movement, we'll change the station of our body from seated to kneeling. I'm going to make the choice to move the blanket out to the side. You might want to keep your blanket on the mat or invite it in, or a knee pad if you need some support underneath your knees. So we'll start off by coming into child's pose. As you come into child's pose, open your knees the width of the mat, bring your big toes together, and then send your hips towards your heels. Now reach your fingers forward, lower your chest, lower your forehead. Let your forehead meet the mat. Let the forearms meet the mat. Try to relax the arms, the upper body. Just give yourself time to settle into this shape, this pose. Know that with the knees wide, we're focused on hip opening. Feel a gentle sensation at the hips. Exhale, sigh of relief. Now, when you come into this position, if your forehead doesn't quite meet the mat, you can always use a prop like a block, pillow, or blanket for support. Using that prop to bring the floor up to you. Find the shape that's working to support your body in your practice today. We know that each day our body might feel different. Some days we're stronger physically. Some days we have less energy. How we feel physically can also have to do with how we're feeling mentally and emotionally. So just let your body do what it can today without judgment, just creative exploration. On your next inhale, lift your head just enough to look forward. Walk your left hand out to the left off the mat. Lift your right hand, stack it on top of your left, and then lower your right arm and your right shoulder down. Feel a nice gentle stretch in the right side of the body. Lift the head, lift the arms, walk them to center. And then take the right hand off the right side of the mat. We'll stack the left hand on top and then lower the left arm, the left shoulder. Feel a nice gentle stretch in the left side of the body. This is a variation of child's pose. Gently lift the head, walk the hands to the center of the mat. And then from here, we'll lift up. We're coming into a tabletop position. Bringing the knees underneath the hips. Check and see how those knees feel. Depending on the type of floor that you're practicing on, it might be a little uncomfortable for the knees. So check and see if you want to put some padding there. And then look at your hands. Spread your fingers wide. Keep the arms straight with the wrists in line with the shoulders. Knees are under the hips. Look between the knees. If you can see your feet, just open them enough to where you don't see them anymore. Now, as you inhale, let your belly lower towards the mat. And as you exhale, lift your back, create space between the shoulder blades. Belly lowers, back arches on the inhale. Exhale, round the spine. Imagine you're trying to tap the ceiling with your upper back. And continue to move through extension and flexion of the spine with your inhalations and exhalations. And find your way to a neutral tabletop position when you're ready. And from here, we'll draw circles with the hips. Now, as we draw circles with the hips, we're able to warm up our wrist. We can release tightness from the hips in a very gentle way. And if at any point the wrists feel uncomfortable, we can take the option of positioning the blocks at the mid-height to support the forearms. This way the wrists are completely free with no pressure. You can still achieve your hip circles. And switch up the circles in the opposite direction, whether you're using the blocks or not. Just know that you have options in your practice. Slow the circles. Maybe arch the back. Maybe shift the shoulders in front of the wrists. And then come back to that neutral tabletop. From here, we're going to thread the needle. On your inhale breath, lift your right hand, twist to the right, reach your right fingers up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, weave your arm behind your left arm, in front of your left leg. Now, come onto your right shoulder and shift weight into the right shoulder. Get a nice stretch for the right shoulder and feel into the right side body. Feel the spine twist. On your next inhale, press your left hand to the mat. Reach your right fingers up, twist again. And then exhale, take that right hand down to the mat. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Inhale, lift the left fingers. Twist to the left, reach for the ceiling. And then exhale, weave it through. Let that left shoulder come down to the mat. Shift weight into the left shoulder. Notice the intensity that you can create. And also notice that you can back out if you need to. Feel into the left side of the torso. And then press the right hand to the mat. Inhale, reach those left fingers back up as if you're going to tap the ceiling. And then exhale, bring the left hand down. Back to our tabletop position. We're going to advance now from kneeling to downward facing dog. If downward facing dog is not accessible in your body today, you can always come back into child's pose. Child's pose is always an option in your practice. So take what you need. If you want to try for the downward facing dog, looking at your hands, walk your hands one hand placement in front. Now curl your toes, lift your hips way up high, and then press back. So you want to think about shifting weight into the low body. Think about sending your chest towards your thighs. Keep the fingers spread wide. Bend your knees if your hamstrings are tight. Now, if you're having a limitation in your shoulder or your wrist, go ahead and come into child's pose. If you're okay in down dog, stay here. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, let it go. And slowly walk your feet towards your hands. Take your time to get there. There's no rush. Remember, we're enjoying an at-home, slow flow practice, warming up our bodies. Once we notice that the feet have made their way to the hands, take your palms to your shins and come into a half lift. See if you can straighten the legs, opening up the hamstrings. And then exhale, take a little micro bend at the knees, let your arms dangle. Go ahead and bend your knees more if that's more comfortable.
or straighten your legs completely if you're feeling more flexible today. Forward fold, the arms can dangle or hands can find opposite elbows, framing the head with the arms. You might even take a variation of bending one knee as the opposite leg straightens. Moving from one side to the other, offering a deeper stretch for your legs and feeling that stretch going up into the hip of the straight leg. Standing forward fold. If you're bending one knee at a time, just bring the legs back to stillness. Bend the knees, release the arms. Pressing your feet to the mat, take your time to slowly roll up to standing. Now for some of us, it may be a little more comfortable to use a prop like a bench or a chair to find our standing position. So take what you need and take your time. It's important to come up slowly and let the head come up last to prevent us from getting dizzy. Now, as we come into our standing position, this is our mountain pose. Our arms are by our sides, our palms are facing forward. Inhale, lift the shoulders up towards the ears, and exhale, take the shoulders back and down. A couple more times. And then the next time the shoulders go back and down, set the shoulders away from the ears. Look to your feet. Make sure that your feet are hip distance. We'll spread the toes. Maybe rock forward and back. Just checking the balance of your standing foundation. Now we're going to move through a gentle sun salutation just to build a little more heat and energy. If at any point any of these movements don't feel good in your body, you can opt out of them. Inhale, let the arms rise up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Come into forward fold once again. On your next inhale, take your half lift. As you exhale, bend your knees so much that you can bring your palms to the mat. And once you bring your palms to the mat, step your right foot way back and then step your left foot back. From plank position, lower your knees to the mat, bend your elbows, lower your chest and your chin, press your belly to the mat, thighs to the mat. As you inhale, lift your head, lift your chest off the mat, gaze forward. And as you exhale, push the mat, straighten the arms, lift the hips, curl the toes. Come into downward facing dog or child's pose. Take 3 rounds of breath. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. 2 more rounds. 1 more. Step your feet to the top of the mat. And once both feet make their way to the top of the mat, inhale as a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms up, gathering energy. Let the palms meet, and as you exhale, bring the thumbs down the midline. We're making our way back to our mountain pose. Arms are by our sides. Go ahead and close your eyes for just a moment. If you close your eyes and you feel like you've lost control of your balance, you can open them. Whatever you choose, just feel the sensation of the ground under your feet. Give yourself time to come into the stability of this standing foundation. Mountain pose.
Tadasana. Notice how you're breathing and see if you can slow the breath. Take one more full round of breath. And if the eyes are closed, gently start to flutter them open. Bring your hands to your hips. Shift weight into the right foot so that you can step the left foot back and then rotate your left foot to 90 degrees. Now, we're setting up for warrior two. You don't want your feet so wide apart that you don't feel stable, so you can shorten the distance if you need to. What we're looking for is to have the right knee bent with the right knee tracking above the right ankle. And then the left foot, the pinky edge of the foot is going to be parallel to the back of the mat. So when you look down to your 2 feet, you want to position your front heel in line with the back heel or your front heel in line with the back arch. Then we send the arms out, fingers are reaching in opposite directions. This is our warrior two. Now your gaze is going to go to your right middle finger. Gaze is forward, feel the strength in the legs. Let the strength build. Press the feet to the mat. And now press into your right foot so that you can straighten your right leg. Once you do that, reach your right fingers forward. This is going to send your left hip back. And then just rotate the arms. So you're bringing the back of your right hand to your right inner thigh. And you're reaching your left fingers up to the ceiling. Now, you can challenge yourself by looking up to the ceiling. Or if that's uncomfortable for your neck, you can rotate your head to look down to the mat. You should be feeling a nice stretch at the right inner thigh. Reach those left fingers up. And now rotate the arms, bend the right knee, come back to warrior two. Let that left hand find the left thigh. Inhale, reach the right fingers up, keep a bend in the right knee. And then maybe you go deeper by reaching your right arm overhead. You'll feel the left hand sliding down towards the knee, or you can take that left arm behind your back. Maybe you gaze up and continue to reach to get a deeper stretch for the right side body. And then find your way back to warrior two. Now we're going to take those 3 standing options on the other side. To come into the other side, press into the right foot, take the hands down to the hips, rotate the right toes to face the same direction as the left toes. So now the right foot is going to stay as it is with the pinky edge of the foot parallel to the top of the mat. We'll rotate the left toes to the back of the mat and we'll bend the left knee. Coming into our warrior two on this side. First, make sure that that left knee is tracking above the left ankle. Look and make sure that you can see your big toe and your second toe. And at the same time that you're keeping this left knee bent, you're pressing to the pinky edge of that right foot. Once you have your legs positioned, then you're going to reach the arms out, fingers reaching opposite directions. And now you'll look to your left middle finger. This is where you're going to hold your gaze as you breathe and feel the legs strengthen. Feel strong in this posture of warrior two. Press into the left foot to straighten the left leg. Both legs are straight. Reach the left fingers forward and then just rotate the arms. Back of the left hand comes to the left inner thigh. Right fingers are reaching up. Maybe you gaze up, challenging your balance. Or maybe you rotate your face to look down to the mat if that is more comfortable for your neck. From here, rotate the arms to center, bend the left knee back to warrior two. And now lower that right hand to the right thigh. Lift the left fingers up towards the sky. Option to stay here, or option to reach overhead, deepening the stretch, feeling that right hand slide down more, or maybe you take the right arm behind your back. This is up to you. Find your way back to warrior two. Straighten your leg, rotate the toes all the same direction, and then bring your hands down. Heel toe your feet back to hip distance and make your way to the top of the mat. Now we're gonna come into our pyramid pose. I recommend inviting blocks onto the mat. That's gonna be more supportive, so we can try with the blocks, and if you're feeling really flexible, then you can opt out of the blocks. I'll show you how. So let's inhale, let the arms rise up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Bring your hands to your blocks. So this is a modified fold. I've got my blocks at the highest height, and I've got the blocks in front of my feet. Now when I look at my feet, I open them to hip distance. Make sure you've got about 6 inches between your feet. Blocks right in front of the feet. Lift your right foot. Take your right foot back about 2 to 3 feet. And then rotate your right toes towards the right edge of the mat. Now bring your left block outside of your left foot. Bring your right block in line with your left foot. Both legs are straight. Take an inhale breath, and as you exhale, bend your elbows to fold forward. Now, as you fold forward, you're gonna feel a deep stretch at the back of the left leg. Some of you might wanna opt out of the blocks. You might be able to bring your fingertips down to the mat. You might be able to bring your palms down to the mat. This is just gonna depend on your flexibility for today. So honor your body and what it's telling you that it needs. Fold enough to feel a deep sensation, but not to the point of pain or major discomfort. And then inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, bend that left knee, step the right foot in line with the left, and go into a forward fold. Notice the difference between the left leg and the right leg. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step the left foot back 2 to 3 feet, and then rotate the left toes just to face the left edge of the mat. Make sure that both legs are straight. Make sure that the right block is just outside of the right foot, and that the left block is in line with the right. Take an inhale breath, and then exhale, bend the elbows, fold forward. Remember, you can opt out of using the blocks if your fingertips or your palms meet the mat. Breathe into the pose. Feel a nice stretch at the back of the right thigh. And feel the stretch going into the right hip. Inhale is our half lift. Bend the right knee. Exhale, step the left foot in line with the right. Go into your forward fold. Now bend your knees and slowly come up to standing position. Take your time to get there. We're gonna try a more challenging standing posture. We're gonna come into reverse triangle. So to come into reverse triangle, we'll step the left foot back, just like we did when we were in our warrior two. So setting up warrior two, I'm leaving my blocks where they are because I'm gonna use my blocks for support. From warrior two, straighten that right leg, Both legs are straight. Now your right toes are facing the front of the mat. The left pinky edge of the foot is parallel to the back of the mat. So toes are facing opposite directions. Now, when we come into our reverse triangle, instead of lowering this way, we're actually going to take our left hand to a block. I recommend bringing the block to the inside of the right ankle, and then practice twisting to your right. Lifting the right fingers up, steady in the feet, strong balance. And then exhale, let that right hand come down to come into the other side. Let's step the left foot forward. Both feet are in line with each other. Inhale is a half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, roll up to standing position. Hands can find the hips. When you're ready, lift the right foot, step it back as if you're coming into warrior two. We'll start at warrior two. So now we're bending the left knee, pressing to the pinky edge of the right foot. We'll fly the arms, and then we'll press into that left foot to straighten the left leg. Now, typically we would rotate the arms to come into triangle, but because we're reversing our triangle, we're going to take the right hand to the right block, bring it to the inside of the left ankle, and then reach those left fingers up. And on your next exhale, take the left hand down, find the block. Open up the space at the right block. Take a bend in the left knee, step the right foot in line with the left. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Take the blocks off the mat. Now position your hands to the mat. You might need to bend your knees deeply to achieve that. Step the right foot back, then the left, come into downward facing dog. Find a few rounds of breath in your down dog. As you inhale, shift forward, find plank position. Pull the belly button up to the spine, and then gently lower your knees to the mat. Now, once you lower your knees to the mat, uncurl your toes, bring your hips above your knees, just like we did before in tabletop, but walk the hands forward. Now, once you walk your hands forward, see how it feels to bring the forearms down, keep the hips above the knees, and then see how it feels to bring your forehead down. Try to relax the arms and try to melt your heart towards the mat. So this is called melting heart pose. It's a great posture to release tension from the upper back space. This shape is also known as puppy pose. It can be a little intense, so we're not going to stay here for long. And to come out gently, bring one hand under the same side shoulder, and then do the same thing with the opposite hand. Lift the head, find your way back into tabletop. From tabletop, take your feet out to one side so that you can come onto your seat. So this is the part of the practice where we are done with our standing options. We're going to continue with our practice, but now we're going to focus more on stretching. So as we come onto our seat, we want to feel our hips grounded to the seat. I'll demonstrate by bringing my legs in front. I've got one leg in front of the other. This is known as easy pose or easy seat, Sukhasana. I like to bring one foot in front of the other. This is a comfortable seated option for me. If there is a seated option, leg position that's more comfortable for you, please feel free to take that. You know your body better than I do, so really honor yourself in your practice today. So from our seated position, we're going to take a seated spinal twist. This means we're going to be rotating our torso in each direction. So as we do this, we're also going to incorporate our arms. We'll start off by taking our hands outside of the hips. Inhale, reach your fingers towards the sky. Exhale, twist to one direction. Let the arms come down. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, twist opposite direction. Each time you inhale, lift the arms up. And each time you exhale, take opposite direction. So your movement is following your breath. Let's take one more on each side. Movement following the breath. Finding our way back to center. Exhale, take the hands down. Take a full round of breath here. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Now, the next couple of postures that we're going to come into are going to be much deeper stretches for the hip area. The hips are a great part of the body to honor, to stretch, to let go of tension. Hips are where we hold a lot of our stress, a lot of suppressed emotions. We can think of our hips like the basement of our house. Everything gets stored there that we just can't or don't want to deal with. So we're going to take the time now to get into this area, challenge ourselves a little bit more so that we can work some of that stuff out and open that space and shift the energy around. So this first option that we're going to come into is internal rotation for the hips. It's called cow face pose or Gomukhasana. To achieve it, what we want to do is bring the bottom leg, knee in line with the torso. So instead of the knee being out wide, bring the knee in to towards the midline of the body, and then your other leg you're gonna stack on top. Now, some of us will be able to get the top knee directly above the bottom knee. For some of us, it might be a little wider, and that's okay. Don't stress your body, protect your body. Don't push yourself too much because you don't want to cause injury. So once you find where you can comfortably stack your knees, you want to make sure that your feet are out to the sides. You're not sitting on your feet. So shimmy the hips from side to side. Make sure you can feel both parts, both sides, glutes grounded, feet out to the sides. Now, as you come into this shape, you might already feel a deep enough stretch. And if so, stay where you are. If there's way too much compression in your knees, a great option is to sit on a block. So you can lean forward, lift the hips, and then position that block underneath. That's going to give you a little more lift. That'll help with the angling of the knees. So know that this is an option. Don't worry if you don't have blocks, you can sit onto a pillow. Now, for those of you that have really open hips and you need more of a stretch, then you're going to bring your hands forward. Walk your hands forward, keep your seat grounded, and notice that the more you fold, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch in the hips. You might even feel the forearms come down. And if so, then relax the head. Once you find the level of intensity that you want to stretch the hip, pause there. Breathe through it. Simply breathe and allow the hip to open up. On your next inhale, gently and slowly rise up, lifting the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Now we are going to switch up the legs and do that on the other side, but before we do, we're going to incorporate another hip opener that's going to be for external rotation. So right now we have one knee stacked on top of the other. we're gonna open that up. So we want to stack the legs so that we've got the top ankle resting on the bottom knee and the top knee above the bottom ankle. If you can bring your legs in this position, when you look down in your lap, you'll see an upside down triangle. If this position is not available in your body, don't worry. You can extend your bottom leg, bringing your leg forward and just having your top ankle on your bottom thigh. Now we are gonna fold forward. If you're in the second option, you'll feel more of a stretch in the hamstring of your extended leg, but you'll still get external rotation for your hip. If you've got your legs stacked, then you're gonna lean forward in both variations, lean forward. And again, just find that sweet spot. Find that place of stretch, but not to the point where you feel that you're out of control of the posture or your body. Maybe the palms ground down. Maybe you're able to walk the hands forward more. So this is called double fire log or Agni Stambhasana. This is one of my favorite hip openers. In my body, I feel that I can release a lot of tightness when I take this shape. Let's enjoy one more full round of breath here. Inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open your mouth, sigh of relief. Inhale, gently lift your head. Exhale, walk your hands towards your body. First, find that straight spine. Now, noticing your legs, know that we're gonna take those two options, but we're gonna switch up the legs. So we want to remove the leg that's on top. Just let it come out to the side. Remove the leg that's on the bottom. Now, the leg that was on top is going to ground down. Remember, if your knee is out really far, try to bring your knee in towards the midline of the body. Then, try to stack your top knee on top of your bottom knee. First, make sure your feet are out to the sides. You don't want to sit on your feet. Remember, you can always take the block underneath your seat. That's going to be more comfortable for your knees. And if this is simply just not comfortable at all, that's totally fine. This is your practice. You can opt out of it. Now, once you've got your positioning of your seat ready to go and you wiggle the hips back and forth and you know that you're not sitting on your feet and you can feel both hips grounded, then you can decide if this is enough of a stretch or if you need to lean forward to get a deeper stretch, more intensity. So you'll be feeling the stretch of the hip of the top leg. Cow face pose, Gomukhasana. Continue to fold forward as much as you want or need to in your practice today. Release the head and the neck. One more full round of breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, gently lift your head. Exhale, walk your hands towards your body. Lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to take our positioning from internal rotation to external rotation for the hips. All we need to do here is open up the space so that we're no longer stacking the knees, but rather we're bringing that bottom foot out so that the ankle's in line with the knee. And then as we stack the top leg, we have the top knee above the bottom ankle, and we have the top ankle resting on the bottom knee. If this is okay for your legs, you'll look down, you'll see that upside down triangle. If this is not available, no problem. You can extend that bottom leg. Whichever variation you choose for your practice today, lean forward to get more intensity and continue to lean forward, keeping the hips grounded and feeling a nice hip stretch at the hip of your top leg.
explore in your practice. Feel into the pose. Maybe close your eyes. Lengthen your breath. Feel the release of tension at the hip. One more round of breath. Inhale, lift the head. Exhale, walk the hands towards the body. Straight spine, reach the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And then open up the legs. You can bring your feet in front of you. Take your hands behind you, leaning back like kickstands, and just let your knees move from side to side, just releasing any stuck energy from the hips. Walk the hands forward and then create space between the legs. So we're coming into a wide-legged seat. We want to open the legs enough to get space, but not so much that the knees pop up. So if you've got space underneath the legs, all you need to do is just shorten the distance between your feet, bringing them closer together, so that the only lift that you feel underneath your legs is that natural lift at the back of the knees. Now, let's start off by getting a nice stretch for the feet and ankles and the lower legs. So as you inhale, point your toes. Feel a stretch at the top of the feet. And as you exhale, flex your feet. Feel a stretch, lengthening at the calf muscles. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. One more time. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Now relax your feet. On your next inhale, lift the crown of your head up, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, walk your hands forward. Keep the legs, the hips grounded, and simply fold as much as you want or need to feel into the inner thighs. Now, the more you fold forward, the more you'll be able to also incorporate a stretch in the back space, getting flexion for the spine. You can put like blankets or pillows or a bolster to relax your forehead on. Or if you're more flexible, you might fold a little deeper. Come back to lengthening the breath. And with each exhale, let your body fold a little deeper. Take 2 more rounds of breath. In this last round of breath, find your fullest expression. And then on your next inhale, slowly, slowly lift the head. Exhale, walk the hands towards the body. Back to our straight spine, reaching the crown of the head up. We'll take our hands underneath our knees and we'll gently bend the knees, bringing the soles of the feet to the mat. Changing the station of our body now from seated to reclined. Make sure that your seat is at the middle of the mat so that when you lean back, there's space for your back, shoulders, and your head to meet the mat. Keeping the knees bent, walk your feet towards your glutes. So you want to position your heels in line with your glutes. Let your arms anchor down beside your body. We're going to keep the arms like this. We're going to take some hip lifts. We're also going to be articulating our spine and coming into a bridge pose. So this will be a moving bridge. As you inhale, press the soles of your feet to your mat. Lift your hips as if you're trying to press your hips up to the ceiling, making a diagonal from your shoulders to your knees. And as you exhale, slowly lower from the top of the spine, bone by bone, slowly connecting the vertebrae all the way down to the tailbone. We'll take 2 more. Inhale, lift the hips, press them up. Exhale, gently lower, bone by bone. And then 1 more. Inhale, lift the hips, press them up. Exhale, slowly lower down. Once you feel the tailbone connected to the mat, open the feet wider. Bring the pinky edges of the feet to the edges of the mat and let the knees drop in towards each other. Take a few rounds of breath here in stillness. Allow yourself to get grounded in this reclined position. Know that we're in the cool down phase of our practice. Our at-home slow flow yoga. When you're ready, separate the knees. Lift your feet. Keep the knees wide. Now, position the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. Keep a bend in the knees. Keep the knees open as wide as you can. So the feet look like they're walking on the ceiling. Take your hands to the back of your knees. Press your tailbone to the mat. This might be your option for today, or you might take your hands to your ankles. See if you can still keep your tailbone pressing to the mat. And then another option would be to take your hands to the outsides of the feet, still pressing the tailbone down. Now, if this is difficult for you to press your tailbone down, then bring your hands back to your ankles or back to the back of the knees. One last option you can take is to take your peace fingers to hook onto your big toes. So we're coming into happy baby pose. The knees are wide. Think about the knees being outside of the ribs rather than the knees coming into the chest. Wide knees, knees bent. You can gently rock from side to side, feeling a nice massage for your back. You can take another variation by exploring to see if you can work towards straightening one leg as the opposite knee stays bent. And then try that on the other side. It's okay if your leg doesn't go all the way straight. We're just exploring. We're just taking options, feeling into the body. You might be able to straighten both legs. Maybe you're staying still. Maybe you're continuing to rock from side to side. This is up to you. And then bend the knees. Release the feet. Bring your arms down. Take your feet down. Soles of the feet meet the mat. Heels are in line with the glutes. Coming into a reclined figure 4. Lift your right foot. Take your right ankle to your left thigh. Lift your left foot. Position your ankle in line with your knee. Reach your right hand between your legs. Take your left hand to the outside of the left thigh. Interlace your fingers. Palms meet the back of the thigh. Now with your hands, pull your thigh towards your body. Feel the intensity, the stretch coming back into the right hip. You decide how far you want to take it. A really nice option here is to draw circles with your big toe. This way you can work with getting ankle mobility.
And then rotate opposite direction. Bring the foot to stillness. Release the hands. Open the arms out to the sides. Bring the left foot down to the mat. Uncross the right foot. Bring the right foot to the mat. Take a full round of breath here. Exhale, let it go. Lift the left foot. Bring the left ankle to the right thigh, just above the knee. Lift the right foot. Bring the right ankle in line with the right knee. Take the left hand between the legs. Take the right hand around the outside of the right thigh so the fingers can interlace. Palms are at the back of the right thigh. Pull the leg towards the body. And gently start to draw circles with your right big toe. Ankle mobility. And then take it in the opposite direction. Bring the foot to stillness. Feel the stretch on the left side of the hip. Release the hands. Bring them out to the sides and gently let that right foot meet the mat. Unwind the legs. Take the left foot down to the mat. Reposition the heels in line with the glutes. Open the arms out to the side so that the wrists are in line with the shoulders. Lift both feet now. Ankles in line with the knees. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, lower both knees over to the left. Keep that right shoulder down, spinal twist. Inhale, lift the knees up. Exhale, take both knees to the right. Keep the left shoulder down. Each time you inhale, lift the knees to center. And each time you exhale, take knees opposite direction. We're taking a moving spinal twist and we're paying attention to keep our shoulders grounded. Twisting is great as an option for detoxifying the body. We'll even out the sides. And then we'll bring the knees to center. Lower the feet to the mat. Splay the knees open so that the soles of the feet meet. Now, once the knees are open wide, if you feel tension at your hips, I recommend positioning blocks underneath your thighs. This is really important because if we try to hold a pose where we're feeling tension, then we can't actually relax. And if we can't relax, then we can't achieve the stretch. So by placing the blocks, we're bringing the floor up to the thighs, the legs are supported, and we can work with stretching the hips, getting that external rotation. Alternatively, if you don't have blocks, don't worry. You can extend your arms, make fists with your hands, and then position your fists underneath your thighs. So this is another really great option if you don't have the block props. Now come back to your breath. Simply feel the belly rise on the inhale. And then feel the softening with the exhale. Continue to breathe in this way. If you've got blocks under your thighs rather than your fists, you can take your palms to your belly. Inhale, feel the belly pressing to the hands. Exhale, feel the belly soften. In this time, we'll now transition and shift into Shavasana.
our relaxation portion of our practice. You're welcome to stay in this reclined butterfly, Baddha Konasana legs, bound angle. I recommend staying here if you really want to work with hip opening. If you want to support your low back instead, then I recommend taking your hands to the outside of your thighs, bringing the knees up, opening the feet the width of the mat, and letting those knees drop in towards each other. Relax the arms by your sides. And if you don't desire working on hip opening or releasing the low back, you can come into a traditional Shavasana, extending the legs, creating space between the feet and creating space at the armpits, coming into a star shape. Rotate your chin towards your chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Take a deep inhale, feel the chest rise. Exhale, sigh of relief, let it go. Know that we're going to close our practice here together for today's class. Please feel free to stay in this shape, in this position, as long as you want or need to. At this point, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you in this beautiful practice. I'll see you next time. Namaste.